Hi, so this is my final reflection video blog, and this is my one-time GLP partner, Grace. um, so first we're going to talk about our strong feelings that we had during these interactions. For us, it's a little bit different because we only got to hang out the one time since my previous partner decided no longer to do the project. So we didn't really get to interact in a lot of ways, but we were already friends prior.
Yeah.
So it worked out. So basically for me, when I was hanging out with Kelly, I didn't really know her that well, so my feelings were very uncomfortable and awkward, and I didn't really know how to communicate with her effectively because we both have very different communication styles. So that was probably the main overwhelming sensation that I got. Grace?
Yeah. I guess when we went to the arcade, initially I was a little off-put just because of how dark it was, and it was almost underground. And we don't have anything like an arcade in Istanbul. Or like the closest thing we had was like bowling alleys. So I was fine with it being a little crowded, but I really didn't like the underground part like whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can be weird.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Yeah, but it was fun. Overall, it was a ton of fun. I just had to get over that like initial reaction.
Right. So for our feelings and thoughts, what changed? What was different about it? For me, it was more of just a sense of being way more open and honest with my partner and I had to be honest with myself too, because I found that I was kind of, in a horrible way, I kind of was judgmental.
Yeah.
And I had these like stereotypes that I wasn't even aware that I had. So, that really changed my outlook on just interacting with people in general, like whether they're international or whether they're from America, like everyone has their own, situation and like culture in a sense. So it's really just kind of like, it's been helpful in the sense that it really opens up, your opinions and eyes to other people.
Yeah.
What about you?
I guess the main thing was that it was so completely different from the culture I was in. It gave me an idea of like thinking differently about things to do for fun. Because like when I lived in Istanbul, after school we'd go and like go to a coffee shop and talk or like go out to eat. Going to an arcade isn't something we would do. So that just changed my idea of like what I thought after school activities could be or hanging out with friends for fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, what did we learn about ourselves during these interactions? Well, kind of like I said before, I just learned a lot about really just being like having to be honest with yourself about preconceived notions that I already have. It's easy to think that you're not stereotypical or that you're not judgmental of people. You're like, oh, I'm a good person, which I'm not saying like I'm a bad person, but you do realize like that you have to approach different situations kind of with a blank slate because you don't know. Everyone is so different that you don't know like where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So that's really what I learned about myself. How about you?
I guess like living in Turkey, like even though I'm American, I picked up some of the perceptions about Americans and like I kind of held on to those even after I moved back, which is a little weird. And it's just like when you distance yourself from another culture, you stop seeing them as like a friend or someone you can interact with. You just have that barrier. So you're either like overly friendly or you're completely distant. So I guess I learned it's not a barrier I need or one I should keep, especially now that I'm back living here.
Yeah. So, okay, we only had the one interaction. So is there anything we would do differently or I would do differently approaching this project? You can probably look at it more. Is there anything we would do differently during our time at the arcade?
Yeah.
Overall, I feel like I would try to do more, something a little bit, I would try to go deeper rather than just, I want to learn like more about cultures, and I feel like if you kind of keep things surface level, like we did, me and Kelly, we went to an apple orchard, and then we went out to a restaurant, and like food is a great way to learn about cultures, but it's also kind of still surface level. So I feel like I would want to go a little bit deeper and just, learn as much as I can. As far as our interaction.
Yeah, I guess like going to the arcade was like a good start to like start experiencing cultures, but I guess the only thing I would do differently if we hadn't been friends is like stayed afterwards and like talked more and caught up.
Yeah.
Which we did anyways because we're friends. But
Right.
like if we weren't,
yeah.
then yeah, that's what I would have done differently.
Our situation's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
So the last question, you don't have to answer. So I'm going to answer it though. So how does this influence the way I am a learner or an educator? Kind of to reiterate the point, like multiple times, it's really just about learning. For instance, it's more about getting out of your comfort zone, because you're never really going to learn if you don't put yourself in those situations. And when you do put yourself in those situations, it's super beneficial because you learn so much more about yourself, about the culture, about really just like anything. I mean, it's an open slate. Like you don't know what you're going to discover. And then as an educator, I mean, I think this project influences me as an educator, because again, you cannot approach every single person like they're the same as you. And because of this project, I've really discovered that as an educator, everyone has their own special needs and wants, and what's going to work for them. And so just with this being like with one person, in our case we had two, so I kind of got two different people and ideas, but it makes me have to adapt to certain situations. So that is the end, and thank you so much for
of course.
being my partner for a limited time.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, that is it.